You're listening to Modern Dealership Magazine's In the Box podcast. My name is Joey Little, and thank you for joining me as I interview some of the hardest working people in automotive retail. Whether it's the people working at the dealership or those selling products to dealerships to help them sell more cars, you'll have them right here on Modern Dealership's In the Box podcast. Do you have a suggestion on who we should interview? Email your suggestion to media@moderndealership.com. Another episode of In the Box by Modern Dealership Magazine. It's a chance to for everybody to learn something about someone who is moving metal somewhere in the country in the automotive retail space. Today, someone who I've met in person twice, but I've been friends with online for a long time. And I wanted to know more about her. And if I wanted to know, then that means other people wanted to know too. So I've got Kristina Acord on the phone all the way from Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona, correct?
Yeah, Scottsdale.
Now, you work for a dealer group. You guys got a group of stores down there. What group is it that you work for, and what brands do you guys have?
So it's the Berge Auto Group, and we have a variety of different brands. We've got a couple of Lexus stores, a couple of Toyota stores, Volkswagen, Mazda, and Lincoln.
And you work with all the stores all together. What's it say on your business card that you do? Even though it's probably not everything you do, right?
Yeah, totally. Technically my title is Business Development and Marketing Director for the group. I kind of started out at one of the Lexus stores. I was hired on at one of the Lexus stores, and then, as I started taking over that store, I got expanded to the other store, and then kind of have gotten passed around to wear many hats at all the stores. So,
yeah. It's I've been to your store down. I've been to one of your Lexus stores down there. It's and I gotta say on In the Box, I think you are the first luxury brand dealer that I've talked to. It's been mostly domestics and Toyota and Honda, but you with the Lexus are part of the Toyota family. But yeah, congratulations on being one of our premier brands. That's great.
Nice, yay.
So out of all those different franchise OEM names that you've got, which one do you pick to drive? A lot of choice.
Yes. So I forgot to mention we have a Ford store as well. And actually, I drive a Lexus currently. I've owned a couple of them now after having worked here for 5 years. But I have a Ford as well. So, different parts of my lifestyle require different vehicles. So I have a Ford and I also have a Lexus.
When you got into automotive retail 5 years ago, you said you've been in the business for 5 years. What was the first job you had? And was it with the group you're with now?
So I've actually been in, oh my goodness, probably, I've been with Berge Group about 5 years, but I've actually been in the industry, maybe a little more than 15, I guess. And I actually started out as a part-time receptionist, ironically, all those years ago. My dad has been in the business for a long time. He's been a parts manager since I was a kid, and I'd had my first job actually working in a tanning salon and hated it because minimum wage was next to nothing. And they had a part-time receptionist position come available at my dad's dealership, or the one he worked for, I guess, and making, $3 or $4 more an hour than minimum wage, and I could work part-time and not have to work in a tanning salon. So that's how I got my start forever ago, was as a part-time receptionist.
Did you and your husband, did you get married after you got into automotive or before?
After. Ironically, we met. So a dealership that I worked for, I left while I was in college, and then I came back to work for a dealership after college, ironically the one that I had started working for all those years ago. And when I came back to work, my now husband was actually working as a service advisor.
That's awesome. And I got to say that I'm a huge fan of yours because you're married to a big man with a beard or goatee now and dark black rim glasses, which is a look that I really love. So I commend you for having good taste when it comes to your husband's look. That's awesome. Sure. So you're in a position now as a marketing director for the group and also as a business development director. What is that really? What are your main kind of things that you focus on for the dealer group?
So, I think it's one of those things that's always, evolving. When I was first hired on kind of as a business development manager running a BDC, if you will. And because of my digital background prior to coming to work for this specific group, obviously I would, I have a hard time just staying in my lane, if you will, where I noticed that there was other areas of deficiency in our digital strategy, on our website, things like that. So, without stepping on anybody else's toes that was already working here, I started kind of branching out a little bit and doing a little more here and there. Obviously, they took notice and then started branching me out into other stores and doing other things. So my roles kind of evolved. Technically, I still run all of the BDCs for our group, as well as a lot of our digital marketing as well. So it's a lot.
Was this something that you pushed in your career in automotive, or was it something that you were found? Meaning that some people tend to be a little bit more aggressive when it comes to their career path, and others tend to hope to be, founded and et cetera. Which one would you say that you lean on more? Were you more aggressive or more just waiting for the opportunities to hit you?
I guess I'd have to say, in general, I'm probably a little more aggressive. However, when I first got into automotive, I will say I really had no intention of staying in automotive. Like I said, I started out as a part-time receptionist. I'd left while I was in college, and I went to work. I was going to school for marketing, so I went to work for Budweiser and thought, hey, what better brand, what better place can I go to work for? And then the owner of the dealership that I had worked for part-time while I was in high school had reached out to me because he was starting this new thing called a BDC. And, since I was the youngest person he knew and, figured I'd be more digitally savvy than anybody else, he'd reached out to me to start his BDC. So after a little bit of soul searching, I went back to work for him and started the BDC, and had kind of became his right hand and was really given the opportunity to learn digital and everything digital while working for him. So it was really a cool experience for me. Since then, obviously, I've pushed for different positions and things like that to grow myself, to grow my career. But I'd have to say it kind of found me in that aspect that, he came to me going, hey, I think since you're the youngest guy I know, you might be the most digitally savvy person. So it kind of found me, but I've pushed to do more.
Yeah. The youngest person, it's got to be the most with the computer background knowledge. It's crazy that works, huh?
Right.
So, we talk about automotive retail all the time. We talk about jobs and what people do, and it's great information. And what you just said is going to inspire somebody that's out there that's in a position in their dealership that wants to grow, with the dealership. But I don't want to stay on automotive retail because I like to get to know the people that I'm talking about. And I'm going to bring up some things that, because you and I have been Facebook friends all the way back from when we met at Digital Dealer, I believe, a long time ago. And I need to ask you about Air Affair Blowdry Bar. I got to ask you about that. Tell me about what Air Affair Blowdry Bar is.
For sure. So it's something that I've thought about doing. Like, obviously, like we talked about, I'm kind of ambitious. I'm one of those people that I don't know that I'm ever happy just doing one thing. So while I love my automotive career and everything that entails, I'm one of those people that always just kind of wants more. So I'd had the opportunity at a friend's wedding several years ago to go to a blow-dry bar. I don't know how familiar you are with that concept or not.
No idea what that is.
So it's kind of like a nail salon, but for your hair, where you go in and it's kind of just like wash, scalp massage, style, that whole deal. And so I went to a large, chain of them. And I thought, oh, this is kind of a cool concept. I bet this is a moneymaker. It was super busy. It was in and out. It was a really good experience. It was cool. So I was like, I bet this is a really good moneymaker. So I started doing some research and all that kind of thing. And I looked at the franchise and I'm like, I don't need to buy into somebody else's franchise and pay them all the money. Like, hey, that's what I do for a living is build a brand, digital marketing, all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, hey, I can build my own brand. I can do, more. So I took on a business partner that has I have zero, background in hair or hairstyling or, cosmetology license or any of that kind of stuff. So I sought somebody out that I'd known for a long time that was in that industry, and I will be running kind of the business and marketing side, building the brand. And ironically, funny that we're on this conversation now because we'll actually be getting the keys to our very first location today. So we've been promoting and doing a bunch of stuff online to get ready for it, and we will be having our grand opening in the next 30 days.
Isn't that crazy that the automotive retail space, if you work in a dealership, that all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but over time, I think that our entrepreneurial, things that have been kind of hidden for a long time spark. Something happens. There's a lot of people I know that work in dealerships that, just like you, that have so much passion for business and so much passion for even being your own boss. Because I mean, a floor salesperson at a dealership is basically their own boss. You don't sell anything, you don't make any money, you don't work there, right? But sure. I think it's great. And while you were explaining what a Blowdry bar is, I think there's one 2 blocks away from our offices down here in Kansas. I think it's called Blow.
Yeah.
But it's not a place for me, right? It's not. Your husband wouldn't go, would he?
No, I mean, it's not one of those things where with short hair, you're not really going in for something.
Yeah.
I guess if you're a guy and, you're kind of the man bun style, it might be somewhere you'd want to visit. But, generally it's not really a man's man type place.
Yeah, and I'm also learning something else about you. Apparently you are not a fan of pumpkin spice lattes. What's up with that?
I am not. I am totally not. I don't know. I don't like pumpkin anything. Pumpkin spice lattes, pumpkin anything is just not my thing. I don't know what it is. Never liked pumpkin. I'm that girl at Thanksgiving that's like, ew, can we make an apple pie with you? Pumpkin's gross.
But do you wear Ugg boots?
I don't wear Ugg boots.
Well, you're in Arizona also, where it's like 185 degrees every day.
For sure. It's funny because it's never been my thing because it's so hot here. Like, you can wear flip-flops here, like, year-round. If I'm not at work, I'm more of a, like, jeans and T-shirt flip-flops type girl. So, Ugg boots has never really been my thing. In Arizona, if you see somebody wearing Ugg boots, they're also probably wearing, like, a mini skirt because it's so hot. So it's always a goofy look for me being in Arizona. So it's never been my thing.
When I came to visit you, I was there for less than 24 hours, and I was cooking the minute the plane even got to, like, 10,000 feet above the ground. So, one more question, and I'm going to let you go. And I really, really appreciate you doing this. I think this is great. This is fun. But my last question is, if you and your husband could get away, now you have one child, 2 child. How many kids do you have?
I've got one son. He's 10.
One son, he's 10. Okay. Let's say that the son stays with grandma and grandpa. This is just you and your husband, or you can choose to bring your son along. But where would you go for a week-long vacation, all expense paid, no worries? In fact, you don't even have to take a plane there. You could just snap your fingers and we'll do some of that Star Trek things where you just show up there. But where would you go? Where's your getaway?
For me, it's always, beach. I'm not a big snow, cold type fan. So for me, it would be somewhere cool, warm water, white sand, exotic type deal. Maybe, like a Fiji or a Tahiti or somewhere along those lines, somewhere, drink in your hand, toes in the sand type mentality for sure. For a week to be able to just unplug, it would be somewhere like that.
So, and then that absolutely, I have another question because of that. So are you an Arizona native since you don't like the snow and the cold and all that, or did you grow up where it's snow and coldy?
No, I am actually an Arizona native. There's very few of us here these days. You get people that move, transplant from all over the country. Because, hey, during the summer, it's super hot. Not going to lie. It doesn't matter. People go, oh, it's a dry heat. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's hot.
And do you No, go ahead.
Totally born and raised here and been other places where it's snow and it's cold and it's cool to visit. But after, a couple of days skiing or whatever else, I'm out.
Do you think that my obsession with Filiberto's is odd or accepted?
I think it's pretty accepted. I mean, here
right.
we have them on every corner. There's way better places. I will say next time you're out, we'll take you to a real Mexican food place here because there is way better than Filiberto's.
Filiberto's is my In-N-Out burger of Phoenix, Arizona. I'm just saying. I have to go every time I'm there. I got to get some horchata and some rolled tacos. But I believe you when you say there's better places. It's more of a sentimental thing for me.
There's better, but it's pretty good. Yeah, there's better, but it's pretty good.
Well, thanks for joining me on In the Box. I do appreciate it. I hope you stay. You probably love the heat, so I can't say stay cool. But thanks. It's Kristina Acord joining me on In the Box.
Thank you so much.